everybody intrinsically, if you want to see the different forms, is divine. That we misalign maybe in the mind, even the action sometimes big misalignment, sometimes terrible misalignment.
What are you talking about?
The essence of each one of us is light and love. And yoga is beautiful. That. Yoga is bring us to align that with that essence that we are.
Welcome
to another episode
of
As
Woo As
You
Want with
Celine and
Jeremiah and
Elias.
Yes, Elias.
Welcome.
Thank you. Actually jumping. Ta-da!
Exactly. Get in the spirit.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Very, very happy to have you here, Elias. Welcome everyone to the podcast. We're happy to have you back. The sun is starting to shine here in New York City, so feeling good. Starting to get warm a little bit. Maybe we'll see. We hope everyone enjoyed the last episode that we did, and I was talking with Elias beforehand, Celine, before you got on the call, but I was telling him, basically since we started this podcast, which is, I think, about 2 years now.
Yes, almost.
I had mentioned Elias to you.
Yes, in the way beginning, when we were going through our list of people that we love and inspire us, you definitely mentioned Elias.
Yes.
So nice.
Yeah. So Elias, I'll give you a little intro, at least from my perspective. So Elias Lopez is a yoga teacher. He's actually my favorite yoga teacher. I took classes with Elias for, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 years at the Y here in Brooklyn in Park Slope. And obviously things have changed since COVID, but just always absolutely loved your classes. Just the teachings that you always taught, and it was just you captured, the joy of the practice more than I'd ever experienced before, and I take that with me, as I continue on my journey. Unfortunately, I haven't been doing as much as I'd like to, but I'll get back to it. But anyway, enough about me. Elias, we'd love to hear just about you, how you got into the practice. I know you teach a specific type of practice, so take it away.
Sure. Thank you very much again. So, yes, it's amazing how we have these interactions in yoga studios and meeting in the YMCA and maintain this practice together. I feel like it's very honored just as a teacher, to hear that comment. Thank you. And
absolutely.
Basically, it's yoga what you experience. I use a transmitter of yoga. Of course, I make a little spicy in a Mexican style. And for the question about yoga, I start practice yoga. When I was turning 18 years old, I took a bus from England to Asia, to Nepal.
Wow.
I didn't know anything about yoga. This is a person who buy buses, Mercedes-Benz in England, and he sell them to hotels and touristic places in Asia. So to make it more easy for the cost, he make a group of people who travel in the bus. And we were actually a group of Mexicans, our friend, we get together. We're 12 of us. And we were traveling, and the bus had equipment, have water to drink, take a showers.
Wow.
We go camping. So it was 2 months from England to Nepal in a bus. So we went many countries. And he, the driver, the one who organized everything, he used to wake up every morning at 5:30 in the morning to practice yoga. I was 18, and this time I was an athlete. I used to do a lot of exercise, basketball, soccer, anything you put me, I was right there. And I see him in the mornings waking up, 5:30, and I think, what's this guy just sleeping? When I wake up like at 6:37, I see him upside down. And I was like, that sounds great. That sounds fun. I want to check it out. So I give it a try. I wake up with him a couple of times. Of course, not many. 5:30 in the morning when you're 18 is not something you super, especially when you're traveling. And I wake up with him at 5:30 a couple of times, probably by 6-7 times. And I really like it so much. I feel amazing. I do everything he wants to make me to do. Forward bends. It was very challenging. I was amazed how flexible he was. But also he was a very happy guy. I was like, I want to be just like that. I want to get some of that. So we finished the trip, and that was 2 months in Nepal, and then come back to Mexico. And in Mexico, I tried to contact yoga. And in that time, existed very few styles. And the styles I found, I didn't connect that much. There is a style that specifically breaks some asanas positions. In the middle of the class, you take a cold shower and then meditate, which has its sound beautiful. Think about it, but I didn't connect that in that age. So I stopped doing yoga for that time. I didn't do anything. Yes.
Can I interject for 1 second? So what year was that? I'm just curious because yoga now is like everywhere.
Yes, in 1998.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it started just in Mexico. It started just the new things. Just start as, and then that's it. And I start until I turned 28. That moved to the United States, which we've been talking about almost 10 years after. And I moved here because I met the mom of my daughter in Mexico, and she's American from Soho. She grew up in Soho. And we get together there in Mexico, and we lived together for 3 years. We separate, but we decided to have we had a baby. We decided to come to the United States to have a baby, and we separated here. So I decided to be around here to be close to my daughter. And in the meantime, as a way to deal with this separation and, away from my home, I used to go to swim, the public pools here in New York, and they have yoga. So, and they have karate, and they have all these little things, and it's okay. I'm going to check it out. I went to karate, but karate was a little more intense. I was like, I don't connect with that. I know some people love it, but that wouldn't connect. I was more like other things, And then when I saw yoga was offering, I just jumped into a class. And the first on was so weird for me because I came from a Catholic family. And I was like, even I'm not Catholic anymore, and I respect all religions. It was strange for me to have the on with the palms together. On the end of the class, the amazing thing about it, we do om again, and really didn't care because I feel so great. I get the experience of the practice, and the om just came along. And of course, later on, I understand what om means and nothing to do with any play or anything like that. So I just get into the yoga, and eventually, I start to have my best friends studying yoga, because when you practice in the consistent place with people, you build community. Even you don't talk to people. You just go, put yourself in the mat, you see the person next to you, you practice, and there's person next week, and there's a person next week after that. And eventually you start to know each other. You just, you deal with the same jokes of the teacher or the moments of the teacher. You talk about the teacher. So it became a very important part of my life. And in that time, I was working in New York as a nursery school teacher. So that was kind of a great compliment, because I was working with kids and doing yoga, and made me feel physically great and I'm able to bring more things to the school. And I just feel happy. I just feel incredible, great that there were some days that I didn't have my clothes for yoga, but I forget or something. I go and buy it because I didn't want to miss a class. Wow. So I very great into the yoga. And after probably 2 years, I felt like, I love this. I really feel like I want to share it. And it's something I learned. When you love something, sharing is the best way to expand that beautiful thing that you love. And I went and started to go into teacher trainings. I started to research different teacher trainings. And it's when I started to define, okay, what kind of style of yoga I would like to pick. And there were so many, yoga style is like a music. All are great, Right. You have to do what works for you in that moment. It's like reggae, there is classic, there is rock, and you pick one, whatever. And then one time in your life, you have reggae, the same. One time I have vinyasa. Yeah. And another time I have hatha. And then right now I'm in Anusara, and I start to experience a bow spring, which is a new style of yoga. It's coming out. And I just completely open and receptive for the new possibilities, opportunities that bring it to the practice. So another thing is that eventually with the time, yoga started to build and I started to teach little by little, not full time. I don't know if you want to go there now, teaching.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
So I started to teach for the beginning, like 1 class a week, 2 classes a week. I was start to work as an environmental teacher in different places. I used to go in the Prospect Park. I go to different schools talking about recycling, worms, all these cool things.
Oh, cool.
And eventually I started to teach yoga more and more and more. And I knew that this is something I really liked very much. But in that moment, I didn't know I can survive teaching yoga because it's not like you get paid so much for teaching yoga. Unless you're very good known and you have a big time teaching or style of yoga. And, I had a daughter and I had to provide myself. So I was doing all the jobs at the same time. But yoga started to be little by little more and more. And now that's what I do full time. Unfortunately, I start to study more. I start to be passionate with yoga and people start to respond. I was able to teach in different studios. And fortunately, also sometimes I get invited by the studios, which is I feel very lucky about it. I feel very blessed about it because they hear about it and they invite me, which I feel, okay, I had the opportunity, thank goodness. And it's how I started to do yoga. And something I want to approach with this is that yoga not an amazing tool to make me happy, healthy, but also a tool to survive difficult and challenging times. And something I'm going to put here in the conversation is that I got diagnosed last year with multiple myeloma, which is a kind of cancer of the blood, and which is used to be known this cancer as break bones cancer. People find out because they break the bones. They will say, the bones are so weak.
Oh, wow.
And the crazy thing is that I didn't know last year what was happening, why I have this pain. I went to check, they make x-ray, they didn't see anything, and then x-ray again, nothing. And then I had finished in the hospital and they say, hey, you have cancer. This kind of cancer, fortunately, is not curable, but fortunately it's treatable. So that's the big experience. And I want to incorporate this yoga here because my most difficult times when I was in pain or in the hospital, they stop and really see my breathing, observe my mind, help me to deal with the whole situation.
Wow.
I was actually surprised in terms of because my wife was telling me that the doctor saying, why you don't get more painkillers? I wasn't so much in pain. I just really tried to feel what I need to feel and move it on. I try to work what we do in yoga a lot is just feel it and let it pass. Don't attach, it was basically one of the main things of yoga is no attachment is feel it like a wave coming and then took the floor again. And breathing was such an important thing for my process in the hospital and the pain. And of course, coming out to the hospital and recuperate and work with this again is a process that helped me meditation, helped me my classes because I was teaching class in Zoom. So the whole community still, they're supporting, they're being very supportive, be around to see how can we help me, how can I help my wife to deal with all these situations. So it's the beautiful things about yoga. It's not just a tool to bring us to as individual, but the things that create the community, that we have something in common, that we all looking for the good, that we all want to support each other, that is goodness. And it's something beautiful about the community of yoga is that you practice because there is something for good. There is something, you go there in a place because then when you feel good or you feel happier or release some tension or working for some kind of healing. So that have in common people who come to yoga, and in different versions, different approach. And when I was sick, it's incredible. People used to bring food to our house, send us plans. People send us to contact certain doctors. People offer us rides. So we have like an army of love, and all came from the community of yoga. So that was for me, brought my mind, or of course, opened my heart more than usual. Like I feel so loved, and it's not about me, but it's the love that we all connect to each other. And we said, this is something that we all can support each other. This is the opportunity, and we have something in common. The life is something to embrace, that we can move together when the things are difficult. And now in this stage, it's been with the yoga practice and the time, etc. My body has been healing. My body, little by little, has been coming to a better place. But more important is the state of my mind, which is yoga, bring me to that place. I feel like the most valuable things of the practice of yoga bring me to these times is that I can be more accountable of how I respond to things. So this is basically, I think, the most important, because certainly, yoga is amazing, especially depend of yoga, right? That kind of yoga. But asana is great. Physical, you can develop, you can feel better. But in the end, how you deal yourself in the mat is a reflection of your life. So the mat is like a little playground that you can deal with your frustrations. You can deal with your hopes, with your dream, with your fantasies, with everything in your mat. And then with your body, you experience and how you deal with the present moment, how you deal with your breath when you're in a very challenging position. If you stay there, you go out. If you focus in the form of the pose or you focus in the actions, what's your intention or no intention? That's all these little things that really refine you in your practice. So even just the way of the kind of yoga I've been focused, Anusara yoga and ball spring, they are very focused in alignment. So alignment is defined in this kind of yoga as the way of assist the freedom of light of the body. So you have a beautiful light within, and you do everything to assist it, right? And it's included the physical, included philosophy, included the way of the mind, because the essence is that we are light, and we are love. And then there's things that we somehow break, or we doesn't let to this light move freely. So alignment is assist that light to move more freely. So for instance, physically, if my shoulder is not good aligned, there is a power in my shoulders, So you align my shoulders, key things, the energy can move more freely. And that's just physically, but we go also with the mind, with way of thinking. If it's the amazing thing about yoga is the philosophy that's involved, which is life enhancing. It's embracing, I was mentioning, the beauty of individually we have as a humans, each one, that everybody intrinsically, if you want to see the different forms, is divine. That we misalign maybe in the mind, even the action sometimes big misalignment, sometimes terrible misalignment.
What are you talking about?
The essence of each one of us is light and love. And yoga is beautiful. That. Yoga is bring us to align that with that essence that we are.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that so much. And it's so wonderful too, because yoga was really the first, my first big foray, as they say, into, the more like esoteric kind of being in touch with the mind that really allowed me to tap in when I was like in my early, when I was like a teenager. So, and I loved what you said about the community, sense of community that it brings. It's so important because we don't naturally do that anymore, but I think we're starting to again. So,
and especially
beautiful
in this specific part, especially like you don't have to do so much. You just have to show up.
Yeah.
Because yoga, in the original yoga, was one-on-one, the teacher, the disciple, and the disciple became the teacher. And now in our times is classes, right? Is the teacher or the instructor, and is a mere community. So practice together, you build community just by practicing. And this is just, it's our nature. It's a flow that comes along with no effort. And it's just very powerful, especially when you chant, you connect. You do say an om. Just there's some simple action of hearing somebody else chanting with you. That activates the amygdala, which make the people happier. Just by chanting together, just the voice.
It's very powerful.
And that's, you share something with people. And it's amazing, like Jeremy, like we have already a relationship, right? He mentioned like, well, for 2 years or the time we're together, that he appreciated the classes and stuff like that. And this is for being yoga classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no need to go or to find community in a bar, which is another option for some people. This is great. But this is, or other places like that, no? This is yoga, and you can take any time. And something about this is that you will know the teacher is there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what specific style are you teaching now? You mentioned 2.
Yes. The first one is that was a bit training. Its name is Anusara Yoga.
Anusara.
Anusara means flowing with grace.
Okay.
So they have this based in the Tantra philosophy, and it had the 5 universal principles of alignment, which is a methodology how to align the body. Very simple, but align with all these different expressions of nature.
Okay.
This is basically these principles to align is being not just for the physical, but also the mind. And I can tell you the 5 of them.
Please.
First one is open to grace.
Okay.
Second is muscular energy, which is like drawing in. We use the muscles, but also in anything we hit compact, we're going to contract. The third is inner spiral. So we still create another opening. Our spiral, which is the balance of the inner spiral. So everything in the universe is spiral. So we move with that patterns that exist in the universe.
Yep.
And the fifth one is organic energy, which complement the pulsation in. It's like the stars, right? You want to contract, but also expand. So these principles are based in nature. So you see the expression in the micro and microcosm, and you see the same principles. If you bring into your practice, good things happen. You can heal faster, rejuvenate. For instance, when you contract a muscle, they move not randomly. They have some kind of movement. They move one direction to another, usually to the origin part of the muscle, and move as a spiral. So look into those principles. You can align your body. You can actually learn the principles and learn how to align your body in any situation. Even you don't know anything about yoga.
Yeah.
And that's again with your life. It's a constant pulsation and contraction and expansion. It's also in the mind, right? You receive and you expand. You use like the principle of the yin yang, right? Dark and light. We have some light in the dark. We have some dark in the opposite, in the yin yang. Yeah. So this is one, Anusara Yoga. And it's been incredible because the methodology, and I see people healing incredible, myself, of course. And the philosophy is really strong base. And the another style is called Bow Spring. And it's totally new. It's actually founded by the same founder of Anusara Yoga, which is John Friend. And this is a new thing because it's more based in movement and fascia. So the new approach of anatomy in the body in general is not like the base of the body had to be necessarily the bones. It's also the fascia. It's like we are floating. Our bones and organs are supported by this connective tissue that cover us. And it's been also an incredible because for me right now, for healing my body that I used to have compact, I still have it, compact vertebrae after my, with the cancer that affect me, I'll be able to start to heal doing this kind of form of yoga.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And another thing I had to say that affected me a lot in my life of yoga is I start to go to a place called Ananda Ashram. And Jeremy, you might hear about those retreats a lot because I do retreats a lot there. Almost every year I do at least 3 or 4 retreats. I
wanted to, and it never has panned out for me.
Yes. Ananda Ashram is close to New York City. And I know that place because when I was getting divorced, I need a place, or I want to look at a place for me to find peace and find connection. And I start to practice yoga. So I get recommendation, go to Ananda Ashram. And I went check Ananda Ashram. Is upstate New York in the Catskills. And the moment I arrive there, I feel so much love. And they're based in the Vedas. They actually more in the Vedanta. They have their own guru, their own teacher as well. And it's so in nature. It's an amazing. It's a place that you go and you feel love. You know, like something going on here. You breathe and you feel love. And I start to go as often as possible. It's very close, probably like an hour and a half from New York City. Yeah. And eventually start to bring yoga groups there. And last year, because of the pandemic, I was almost turning to have 50 retreats because I do weekend retreats. So it's like a Saturday and Sunday, like hey, this is the fall retreat. I want to see the leaves changing. Winter retreat, and then the snow amazing, and practice yoga. And then when I go into the summer, in the spring and summer, entonces every season we have a retreat, which is Ananda Ashram became a very big impact for my meditation and also philosophy as well. It's been it's a school of yoga. It's one of the we are very lucky to have it close by. It's very affordable and it's beautiful. The people is incredible. Yeah,
Great.
We'll link that for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Celine, do you have any questions?
Yes.
I mean, of course I have questions.
I guess I should
I don't
also
know how much we can stop because I was going.
I was also going to say, like, I didn't in my intro, but like if anyone who's listening right now listen to the meditation that I did, this is the beginning of this is from Elias.
Yes.
the whole concept of the Ananda and the way you pronounce it, which is like so, you know, there's a simplicity to it, but it reverberates so, you know, so greatly. So after I recorded that, I was like, let me reach out to him and see if he wants to be on the show. Anyway, so Celine, you had something else?
What I love is sort of this concept of the musculature being able to shift through different alignments and kind of breathing, because as an acupuncturist and working with fascia, a lot of times it's our inability to breathe kind of like in all dimensions that kind of causes these restrictions, right? And so I just find it very like synchronistic with how I view the body is also just really it's the breath which flows into the body, right? Like instead of the body going first. That was a little point I wanted to bring up.
It's energy, you know, it's all these energy. So that's why when we think about assisting or alignment, it's really how can we assist that energy get blocked? I know in acupuncture, I've been practicing acupuncture actually a lot, which is helping me with my cancer, by the way.
Yes, I was gonna ask if you've done any sessions.
Yes, acupuncture we've been doing almost every week.
Great.
From probably like the last 5 months, as part of my healing. Complement healing, and it's incredible. I just feel because what happened is that after coming from the hospital, I couldn't do so much asanas. Actually, they told me you cannot even down facing dog. You cannot carry even 10 pounds. Because you are so exposed to break a bone. That bad it is.
Wow.
So I need to find a way besides walking that bring the energetically more balance. And acupuncture has been incredible. It's just one of the best things I've been doing these days.
I'm so happy that you found that.
Yeah, it's energy. It's energy moving, and this is the thing about the energy. Is just not the body, right? It's just also the mind. Your intention is when we sit in and you observe and how you feel, and you embrace and you have the choice to say, okay, I want to embrace how I feel with compassion, and that can shift completely the energy. It's just incredible how things are moving. And I've been noticed when I acupuncture, I feel more sensitive than other times. I just feel things, you know, when I get a little in my crown, I feel an opening.
Yeah, it's like, boom, let's do this. Let's connect.
Wow.
I feel so free.
That's amazing.
This is so great.
This is how I know when I feel alive, when I feel free and open. It's in any form, right? In my mind, in my heart, it's the sensation that we all recognize.
Yeah.
And this is we're talking about the word Ananda, which is the meaning of Ananda is joy. Is Sat Chit Ananda is the Sanskrit word for the essence of consciousness. So everything and everybody and everything have this Sat Chit Ananda, which is truth, is consciousness, and is joy. Ananda. Have to be careful to pronounce Ananda for those who are hearing this. Is Ananda. Right. Because you say Ananda is misery, and you don't want to invoke misery. So the pronunciation of the Ananda is important to put it out because that's joy. It's completely different meaning, and that's our essence. Because when we are learning in yoga practice, when we in a class, I always say, listen, the way how you know you're doing great is that you feel this joy. After class, you feel the joy. You were pretty much aligned. Is this more like there is more things to move out? Great. Maybe there's something to work more with the line, maybe with the mind, with the body, with your breathing. But this is the essence. This is who we are. And when you are in joy, if you are in that joy, in that ananda, you pretty much misalign. It's our nature. So it's looking how to align your mind, how to align your body, how to align everything in you so you can find the joy, to think more freely. It's just the essence that we all carry. And it's beautiful. Everybody, nobody, what things you do in your life that you feel wrong, you did, that you don't deserve to be joyful. It's a joy, it's that things that serve us to bet who we are. And if you see, for example, when I very amazed, for example, the guru of Ananda Ashram, Sri Brahmananda Sarasvati. He was a doctor, he used to be surgery for the brain and stuff. And he decided, he's from India, and he decided, let's bring more meditation. He started, I'm talking about the 70s, actually before the 60s. Wow. And which yoga and meditation was even more strange than now, right? Yeah. Right now it's very common. We all talk about yoga different. And he started to make a group meditation. And we are so strong that he decided to just use his time for meditation, all his work. And then he created this ashram. But people like him and many other people, you see them, they are just totally blessed out. They are so happy. You see them. He's not alive anymore. He's not in his body. But this, for me, that what we're looking for is that joy. Be present. That, yes, we have dealing with emotion. We have to deal with things in life. This is not like the just down the hill. Part of the line, the alignment is of the hill, but you do it in a way that is bring you to that place of joy in the present moment. That you have a feeling, you're letting go. Like I was in the hospital, I was in pain, and I feel the pain. I take the next exhale, and I was less. And I just don't try to hold the pain. I just like, okay, let's keep moving in. Wow. And that's bring us back into the alignment, which enjoy the ananda is the essence. When I was in the hospital, I had to share this because I think when I was in the worst moment of pain, when I went to the emergency room, I turned around, New York in the emergency rooms, at least I was in Brooklyn, Park Slope, it's so incredibly diverse. It's just crazy, amazing. And everybody moving and talking and, different clothes, the doctors, everybody looks different, which is amazing, wonderful. And, but I was to look around when I feel I was kind of in the line, feeling like, I kind of go down, with death and life. And I turn around, it's something that be clear for me is that we all brothers and sisters, that we all love, that everything else besides that is misaligned. Anything else to do with love and peace and light is misaligned. And it's incredible because I was really like, wow. And I feel like I love everybody in that moment. Wow. People come to my room when I was in the hospital and I anybody who comes, like my best friend, it's like, hey, how you doing? People maintain as the doctor, the nurse, because I see everybody with so much love. Like I appreciate life different way. When you are, well, at least in my case, I was touching deep into the dark. I decided to see the light. Mm-hmm. I see to look up. And that's like the lotus flower that we use in yoga. Lotus flowers, we use this a lot because it's this seed, a plant that come from the deep into the mud and come out into the light full of completely clean and full of colors. From the ignorance, which is the darkness in terms of yoga, we use it. The dark will be ignorance and come to the light like a flower. So this is something amazing about this ananda and the relationship with yoga and the reconnect with your essence, that you turn around and see everybody is divine. Everybody is incredible. Everybody. Even the people do stupid things, some people very terrible ones. Everybody's divine. And I think that's something that when we chant in yoga, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, may all be happy, is that if we can make everybody that moment during the day, once a day, thinking, I wish everybody be happy, everybody, with no exceptions, everybody. We start to shift and see more compassion. We start to embrace our society in a more gentle and more loving way, which is necessary. And not just them, ourselves. We start to forgive yourself.
Yes.
And even if we get hurt, right? We allow ourselves to see other part divine, a process of how the dharma, the path in life. And of course, we need to make boundaries for certain things, right? Doesn't get hurt more or crazy things going on. But the vision of people is as divine. And I have to say, I get this from the Dalai Lama. The thing what happened with Nepal of the Chinese army destroying the life of many people from this community, incredible community. And people who was in jail from the group of the Dalai Lama, some people came out and some of them were very upset. And they said, Dalai Lama, we should take the weapons and be responding back to the Chinese. And Dalai Lama responded with this. This is not about the purple. The people is divine. Each person is divine. It's about the actions that we need to change. Of course, we need to create boundaries. But you are upset not with the person, with the action of the person. And that completely shift my vision because we remember it's divine, but also we all make mistakes. And yes, there are things that shouldn't be happening, terrible things. It could be boundaries, but we shouldn't attack against the human, against the person, because we have this divine. And that's what I bring in yoga classes as well. When I teach yoga, I don't focus in the form. This is not about like, okay, let's do down facing dog.
Yeah.
And down facing dog, how you look in down facing dog. This is not important how you look. It's the action you do down facing dog. If you engage the hands properly, you rotate the arm out, you breathe fully. And most important is this pose express your intention. So divide separate the form, which is this something that we attach sometimes. The even things we get against to, right? Like the Dalai Lama said, we shouldn't try to wish bad to anybody. Mm-hmm. We need to looking for the actions to shift that. And as we do in yoga classes too. This is about not how you look. No, if you are, because that's the tricky part of yoga. Yoga could be a place that feeds the ego. And I see myself in that place many times. Mm. And they say, hey, check it out. I do a handstand, this is, look how great I look, And then you take the picture and you put it everywhere, Facebook, everywhere. And which, it's fun. But sometimes you're attached to it.
Yeah.
And this idea of, I'm a good yogi if I do handstand. Or a good yogi if I put my toes in my nose.
Yeah.
And I've completely lost the whole things about yoga, which is the actions. If you became a better person, if you're a good human, that's in that case you became an advanced student. Yeah. If after the yoga class, if somebody pulls you and instead to react with the way you take a breath and see what's the best thing to do after a breath.
I love that.
That's what at yoga is when I believe this is for me advanced students. For me, it's not when I go to yoga classes and sometimes they offer me, hey, can do advanced class. Well, I understand there is an invitation and clarity so that people can choose according to the experience, what kind of practice they want to have. But I tell them when I go to advanced classes, I call it between advanced, is that for me, advanced is who you are as a person after class, and in class. If you are a person, for example, for me, it's more powerful. That person is continuing yoga class, free yoga class ever. And it's very focused in the breathing, even though it's very limited about certain movements, but it's breaking the breathing and it's very focused there. That's for me advanced. That's somebody who barely practiced for a long time and, hey, look at me, I do handstand, nobody's watching me yet. That's for me, hey, basics. You have to start to go what is the essence of the practice.
That reminds me of, I'm sorry to interrupt, Elias. No. It reminds me of, another thing you'd mentioned in the class, which I really loved and I always keep with me too, is, this idea of like leading with your head or leading with your heart. So particularly when you're doing like forward bends, a lot of people lead with their head because they're trying to get as far down as they want. But what you need to be doing is leading from the heart, and that'll actually give you a better posture too and make you more aligned. It's a physical thing, but it's clearly metaphorical too, right? Yeah.
No, it's amazing about yoga is that constantly your body, most of the things you want to focus in the core. And sometimes we focus almost in the head. And it's a perfect example how you mentioned in forward bends, the idea of, I want to touch the floor, right? And the head go first. And when you do that, you make a big friction which limitate and create more tension lower back, especially you have a very tight hamstrings. Mm-hmm. So we say, hey, listen, stop. Let's live on the heart. So you stop to see what's the core. And when you live from the heart, you embody that action to be more extension of the spine, which is more safety to go forward bends than trying to go jumping into the flexion right away. And in most of things, most of the poses, everything has to move from the core, from the heart. And totally makes sense, right, in our lives. If you move from the periphery, there is some poses, for example, that people like triangle pose. They want to bring your arm all the way back and expand their arm. We focus so much in the periphery. Listen, let's prioritize what's important here. Is the heart. So first the heart, and then you can open up to the sides. And I mentioned in class sometimes, listen, first try to be happy, focus and be happy, and then you focus after and buy a house in the beach, in the periphery. Of course, with a house in the beach, you can sell it and buy a lot of tacos and make you happier. But let's say like first the core. Feel what is matters. And this is physically when we do asanas, which is the Sanskrit word for positions, is that everything from the core, everything from the heart. And this completely allows us to use the light of the heart, even as a language in our practice, to wash away ideas in our head, because our head is there to serve the heart. But we tend to turn the opposite. Right. At least that's the teaching of yoga. The heart is the real one, is the teacher, is the one who we follow. And the mind, the thoughts, they are to serve our highest of ourselves, which is the heart. And this is, as you say, it's true. How you said, Jeremy, it's like what we do a lot is moving from the heart, and it's from the heart. And most of the poses I told in class, if you think how to move from the heart first, most likely you're going to be really much aligned in most of the things. Of course, back pain for sure, twist for sure, forward bend for sure. Many poses that think about the heart, the core, and expansion. It's amazing. Like, use the body is an expression of the universe. So you see the patterns of the universe is in your body. Yeah. Contraction and expansion, just like the stars, just like the cells.
Yeah.
The spirals, you see the skeleton, you have to kind of spiral actually shape is you see in the universe, right? You see from the galaxy to the DNA, well, at least that's the model that they express DNA. Yeah. So you see everywhere. And this is the amazing thing. Like, once we allow in our nature, good things happen. Healing comes faster. You rejuvenate. So the point is how to connect with your nature. What's your nature? And yoga is an incredible, beautiful tool already been for true awareness for many generations, that I say, okay, seems like this is our nature. This is the pulsation we follow. We follow this connection. If we do this, just feels good, And then that's what is that Nanda comes out, find the joy. You're just like, yes, life is great, But even this pain, if it's cancer, is illness, is just open up to feel the gift, our essence that we all have. The thing about this is nothing that you create or build. We all have it. And it's that light, as you see probably in acupuncture, which is like, it's just making things to move, right? To move
movement
freely.
Unblocking, getting the little blocks opened up. What I love about like just the joy and the love, it's just that it doesn't like matter, right? Like in that moment, then you just feel everything, and your love and light, and everything else kind of just fades away, even if it comes back later or it goes away or changes. Like, it's, for me, the practice of yoga, and when you're really in line, is like the ultimate presence to like who you are and like connectivity. And I also think, though, that if there were more teachers like you that were doing it, like, it would not a lot, not every yoga teacher nowadays is, there. I remember I went into a yoga studio like before the pandemic, and there was just like tons of mirrors around.
Tons of what? Tons
mirrors.
of mirrors.
Mirrors. Yeah. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
Like, it's just, it's so, it takes it away from the inner. You're like looking at how this, and
exactly.
like,
and you start to turn more into the form.
Yeah. And like the ego, and I'm like, am I doing this right? Oh, I'm not touching this, and da-da-da. So,
yeah.
Yes, it's a distracted mirrors. I I'm not connected so much with mirrors. It could be helpful in certain moment, but like constant, no. I mean, like you can see, okay, you can check yourself how it looks this specific moment. But the intention of the practice of yoga is the transformation from inside, because the highest transformations are always come from inside.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the invitation of the yoga practice. And of course, the thing about yoga asanas now is like it's 3 different styles and different approaches to things. And we are so lucky because we can choose, it's like, and only styles, even teachers, it's like, okay, this style, Anusara, but I want this teacher. And we are so amazing, lucky. We are exposed to this different kind of yoga, and everybody choose and pick what make you feel to enjoy this balance and feel this joy of Ananda is to feel happy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's great. There's something for everybody.
Yes. And this is the thing about yoga. It's like, I remember, it's like, we're all different. And there is no one thing said, which is one thing, like this kind of yoga, that's the one for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And keep changing. I mean, I was thinking, that's it. That's the one forever, And then come this boss spring, which is start to resolve all the things I didn't have before. And I feel like, wow, now I can heal even different. Actually, this boss spring, I can do it with all these limitations I have with my body. It's very healing. So the noise that the diversity in yoga, we embrace it. Yeah. And the possibility for everybody to find something that's serving. So whoever's hearing this conversation, you guys, I recommend if you went to a yoga class and you don't feel connected, I invite you to try different classes as well, different styles. It's for all for everybody. We have yoga, chair yoga, we have hatha yoga, Anusara yoga, vinyasa, ashtanga, a diversity.
Yeah.
We are so lucky. You can pick. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
You have such posy vibes. It's amazing.
Well, I'm very excited to meet you guys.
I'm very excited. Like Elias.
Yes, that's so good.
I'm very happy to be here, and just also, I have to say, when I talk about yoga, I feel gratitude. One, it came to me as a individual, but also as community we're talking about, and now in this pandemic, I've been teaching by Zoom. If anybody wants to check it out, it's happywarrioryoga.com. And
we'll link it.
Yes. And I have people practicing from Mexico, from Denmark, Hong Kong, and the possibility of these Zoom possibilities, is you open your laptop and suddenly we have people from everywhere. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is that we all deal with the same thing, right? We have some desire to deal with to let it go things. So the whole pandemic, I'm teaching 3 classes a day sometimes. And it's been incredible response. And people is like, hey, this is the way right now to deal with this. For some of them, this is the only way to socialize.
Oh, wow.
It's the only way. It's a couple of days they told me, hey, this is the only time I can socialize because that's the only way to see more people.
Yeah.
And so we are so lucky that we can actually support the yoga. Now, the thing about teach yoga, the way I teach yoga, I don't teach as doing the poses and people watching me keep going, because I don't teach like that in general. I teach yoga. The way how I teach in Zoom is that I sometimes pick somebody who is doing a demo. So that's the main camera. And I'm watching everybody. I have a big projector in the wall.
Oh, cool.
So I can see people in a big size. So someone like I use in the studio, I can walk and, hey, check your right knee and breathe fully into that part. Yes. And then another person. So I have more chance to see everybody individually.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. So I can see everybody individually. And instead to everybody look at me and follow me, because for that, there are amazing YouTube videos that you can follow. And it's great. There are incredible classes there. But this is I can give more attention. And for example, I know this person needs, came from an injury, or this person just came for this hard moment in her life, So I can be a little more one-on-one. It's a class still, but more closer to a yoga studio.
Yeah.
As much as we can. Yes. And an assist. An assistant is just I'm fixing anybody. Everybody's amazing. Assistant is just increasing that, assisting that beautiful light, like placing you're doing great, but if you really need to write, it might be even safer and expand it. This is the invitation. Yeah. So yoga is great. I think let's keep promoting yoga, and please come to yoga, experience yoga, and keep playing. And then I think yoga is just a tool, another tool of life. There are many tools, and this is a beautiful one. And for me to be transforming my life and it's still supporting my life. And I want to keep expanding that because I see the effect that have been coming to my life right now and before. And I want to everybody have that tool as a habit. It's like I have this tool here. I don't exist. I can use anytime.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Very powerful.
So great. Well, I'm so excited that you're doing so well and you've been so supported with community and your body's like supporting you now. And, that's powerful. And it's great for everybody who's listening to hear that and, to inspire. It's an inspiration,
It's absolutely inspiring. Yeah, it really is.
So I appreciate you sharing that with us and everybody.
Yes, it's just like good things are for sharing.
You have a lot of one-liners that are amazing that I feel like you should capitalize on.
Write a book.
Write a book. It would be so good.
Well, I have to say, this is not me. I mean, I just transmit things I learn from different people. I mean, I can say, hey, it's me. No. I just put it here together while I hear someplace else. I mean, of course, I put my little jokes here and there, but I feel like everything we are became transmitter of all the teachers, and that's where we express. With teachers being not talk about yoga, talking about my daughter, talking about my wife, talking about Loki, our little pet, talking about a book, talk about my mother, teachers and comes everywhere. To your life.
Yes.
True. It's very true.
Yeah, good things are for sharing. And when you share, even it's better. When my daughter was little, I used to say to her, Maya, if you share your food even tastes better. And she was doing it, and she was, you are right, Daddy. But it's not because change the food, it's because you feel better.
Yeah.
So I'm thanking for doing this podcast because that's exactly the same thing. Good things are for sharing.
I think that's
actually a really good podcast name.
Good things are for sharing.
Yes.
We'll do a new one.
Yeah, we're going to change it because of you.
Not changing. I love the one that you have. It's very nice too.
Okay, so you're doing Zooms still online, and we'll link that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I have different times, so you can check whenever work for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool. Well, when it's not the pandemic, hopefully I would love to come take a class from you. Oh my God.
It will be an honor, Selena. I will be honored to have in the class. It's
what a sweet thing to say.
No, yes, it's really every time somebody comes to class, especially like I didn't know the person comes even and check it out. I feel like what an honor because they want to check it out. Number one, as a teachers, we're conscious that you come with a place of trust that there is something about you want to receive and you open to the trust. It's so much that yoga teachers have to be very conscious about responsibility that the people trust so much in you that you tell them when to breathe. That's how much they trust.
Yeah.
Even it's new. It's a new person, like inhale in here and the person inhale with you. And that already is the level of trust incredible. So responsibility is double as a teacher to become better. And this is, I have to say, I've been consciously trying to be a better teacher. I have my fallings, my mistakes, but I've been working to be aware of that, keeping the path of the mountain. And I will be honored to have you, Celine, as you come any class and whatever works. You can come to the Zoom classes.
I know I could do the Zoom. I mean, wow. Yes. Who knows?
Yes.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the possibilities there. The space is there. And that's whenever the universe put things together in a way that works for you and for anybody who's listening to us in not only a class, but any class, is sometimes things accommodate in a way that it's time. It feels good.
Yeah.
And it's like the books, when I believe like the books call you I think the same with these kind of things.
I love that.
Like it could be a great book of Garcia Marquez, let's say. Somebody say, "Hey, it's a book Garcia Marquez," but they don't call you like a. Yeah. But there are some books that calling you that sometimes go open the page and you have the things that you need to hear. It's like calling you, "Hey, Elias." It's the same with yoga. It's like even though you say, "Okay, this is good for me," but this is something not moving freely that invite you to go there. Maybe you have to wait a little bit and maybe when feel something more inspiring. I hope this conversation inspiring people to stop and put yourself in the mat one day or some kind of yoga. Yoga is more than asanas, which is also meditation, is pranayama, is devotion. Yoga is have a long parts of yoga. We talk about asanas here a lot. Or I talk about asanas, but as is more than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I hope I see you there, Celine, in class. That could be great. And Jeremy, I hope we can see you again too.
Yes, yes.
Maybe both of us
Absolutely.
will come.
I would love it. That would be the honor.
That'd be great.
Oh, well, this was so lovely.
Yeah, Elias, it's so great to hear from you, and just you said so many things that just reverberated for me. There was so much stuff you said. That, like, I'm definitely going to be listening back to this because there were so many parts where it was making me think of certain things or coming up with certain realizations, and it was just so wonderful to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. And thank you, Selena, for the invitation. Jeremy, I feel honored. And when you send me, like, what is I want to talk about? Like, yoga, I go, okay, let's do it. I love it.
He's like, he doesn't know what he's getting himself into.
I have no idea.
Very nice. Thank you for the opening for the space.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our pleasure. That's what it's all about. Okay, so we'll sign off and say goodbye to our listeners right now. And we hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week and you enjoy this podcast. And please, if you haven't yet, look at our Instagram page. Our Twitter account, Celine is back on it a little bit. She's laughing.
2 years later, back on track.
And you can check us out at the Patreon account if you want to support us, or the Buy Us a Coffee account as well. You can find all that on our SoundCloud or Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Elias. And we'll see you on the next one.
And enjoy life, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.